All right, welcome back to season 7 of our show, and today it's all about the past, nostalgia. We're bringing you back to a time of my childhood where the days were long and hot and the ribs were fried. Let's show you how to get it done. So for this recipe, you're going to need a beautiful rack of loin ribs. Now we're using the loin ribs instead of the spare ribs because loin ribs actually fry up a lot better than spare ribs. They're a lot more leaner. So we're going to take our knife. I'm going to cut these up. So I'm just going to go down the middle of this rack. And we're cutting them up so they'll fry easy. So we're going to feel around and feel through the ribs. Now as a child, I grew up on these. And there's one very specific summer that I do remember. A recipe that you never forget. I'm going to put these in the basket. And it's a recipe that I wanted to make this summer and I didn't get a chance to get around to it, and I'm showing you guys this recipe because I feel it's a great one. So get them all cut up like that and you can see the pieces, and just let your knife go right through the bone and find the bones with your knife. So here's a boning knife. I'm going to just feel around, so I'm going to get to the end of this chop right here. I'm going to pick it up because I'm stuck here. And I'm going to let my knife just find its way right through and take it easy on it. And there it is. So as you see, it takes you no time to cut through these. Now the spare rib, you could use a spare rib, but it's going to be tough. It's not going to be as tender as this, because look at this. This is like a loin chop. And these are so tender and succulent that why even use a spare rib? You'll pay a little bit more money, but it's a lot better of a cut. All right, so I'm just going to finish these up, get them in the basket, clean up, and I'll meet you right back here to show you the rest of this meal. So stick around. Don't go anywhere. All right, so we got our ribs cut up, and now it's time to get them seasoned up. So for this rub mix, you're going to need onion powder, garlic powder, 50-50 mix. I got some black pepper. All these ingredients make them yours, so I'm going in with a good amount of the black pepper. We're not using any salt, because the salt's going to be in the mustard base. We're going in with a little Sazon, and I'm going to explain to you why I'm using that. It's a good amount of Sazon in there. Cumin powder. And then we're just going to mix this up. So this was inspired by my mother. This was her mix. Summer of '84, Terminator just came out, and it was summertime, and we were going to go to the movies that night, and my mom made this, and this is a meal that I just didn't forget because it was the middle of the summertime. All right, so we're going to put a little vinegar. That's apple cider vinegar, and now we're going to get our rub on. So my mom made this. She made a crab salad. And in 1984/85, imitation crab meat was in. We didn't know any difference, but I know one thing, my mom wasn't spending $150 for crab meat, so imitation it was. And I think everybody in the 80s was onto that crab meat, because that's just the way it was. 1984/85, there was a lot of things that were around. And there's a lot of things that went out. If you guys remember Tab, the soda? Never even knew what that was, but it was an artificial beverage. And people loved it. Now you don't ever see it. I think it's out of business now. It was made by Coke. All right, so we're going in with some French's yellow mustard. You want a cheap yellow mustard. Shake it up. Get all the water out of it. Once you shake this up, it's going to mix. And if you don't shake it up, it's going to bring all that water in. So make sure you get it shook up real good, because you don't want all that water in the mustard. And now you're just going to mix it in real good. And as we know, the 80s was a very odd time. A lot of shows were in, but it was a great time. It had Knight Rider, you had the A-Team, and those were just great times and great days. And me, I remember shows and food. And I remember a lot of things just based through food. You bite into one thing one time and it just brings you back in a time that you just remember it was a good time. But food does that for you, and that's why I love to cook. Because every time I want to go back in time, I open up my refrigerator or my pantry and I'm right there. All right, so we're going to get this mixed up, and then we're going to bring you back here, and we're going to show you the other part of this meal that brings back a lot more nostalgia. So stick around. Don't go anywhere. All right, so along with our summer of '84 meal, I had a gorgeous imitation crab salad, which we're going to show you right now. All right, so here is our imitation crab. Now, like I said, this was very big back in the 80s. You saw a lot of this. And today a lot of people use it. They use it for like sushi rolls and stuff like that. But you don't really see it around that often. And a lot of people don't cook with it anymore. So just take it and break it up like that. I'm going to put it in a little bowl. And just get it broken up. Now the funny part is when you're feeding a bunch of kids, you know, kids don't know the difference. So if you give a bunch of kids this, I mean, you're not going to give them a $200 crab salad, right? That would be a little insane. So this was something that was used a lot in the 80s to serve to us. And my mom was great with this one. And you know, it's funny, even to today, I still love this. I know it's imitation, but in my mind, it's real. All right, so we're just going to get it broken up. And the health benefits are there. It's not bad for you at all. A little high on the sodium level, but it's not something that you eat every day. And in the summertime, it's a great go-to. So if you want to get something out that's fast, easy to make, and quick, this is it. And by the way, I was going to explain to you what that Sazon was in this rub over here. So another thing in the 80s, a lot of new products came onto the market, and that's just when Sazon started popping its head around. My mom picked it up off the shelf, and we had that on those ribs, and that's just what I remember. And then it kind of faded out. We didn't really mess with it anymore after that. But this is what I remember, the specific recipe, and this is what I'm showing you guys to do today. So just get all this in a bowl. Now for this, you're going to need some celery. You're going to need the onion that's over here. I'm using a red onion. Make the onion yours, make the ingredients yours. We're also going to need some lemon. And in just a second here, we're going to show you how to get that lemon nice and chopped up. But also, you could take this as well. You can cut it right from the side with your knife. So if you wanted to take it, I'm going to put it on the bench for 2 seconds and cut it this way, and maybe put it in a pasta or anything else like that, you could. Today, I just happen to be pulling it apart to go in here. It freezes well too, so you could have this in your freezer, and you could have it laying around for a minute in the freezer, and it freezes beautifully. And just pull it out and look at that. You got gorgeous strips of crab. All right, let's show you what else goes in here. Purple onion, or red onion, or any onion you like. Get you scallion. So we're just gonna get this cut up. You don't wanna put too much of this because you don't wanna overpower it. But you want to get this cut down really fine. So just get it cut up good. Just like that. I'm going to start off with just a little bit of this. So I'm going to go about there with it. Maybe a little bit more. So just like that. I'm going to move this off to the side. I got some celery here. So I'm going to take the celery, just put them together like that. And I want little strips of it. As thin as you can get them. Just like that. Now I'm going to chop these. So get them diced up. This goes a long way in here. So don't think that you're going to fill this up with a bunch of this because it's not going to taste good. So you just need a hint of this in the back. Remember, it's crab salad. It's not crab scallion. It's not crab onion or celery. All right, so just a little bit more in here. And you just got to eyeball it. Just like that. And I feel that's about right. Now you can do two things with this one. You can put the mayo in here right before serving, and that's what I like to do. Is put the mayonnaise in here right before serving, or you could put it in early. But I don't like to put the mayonnaise in early. I usually like to put the mayonnaise in right before serving. So I'm gonna bring this back, take a look at it, see how my ratios are. I think I'm looking right. You just want a hint of that celery and the onion in there. Not too much, because you really want to taste your crab. So just like that. All right, touch of black pepper. Just a little bit. I'm gonna put the mayonnaise in here right before serving, so I'm not gonna do it right now. All right, so there it is. All right, and here is our lemon. I'm gonna take this lemon, I'm gonna squeeze just a touch in here. Just a tad. I'm gonna take my knife. I just want the rind a little bit in here. See, just the outer lemon. Very, very, very thin slices. It's gonna bring some flavor, it's gonna bring some color, but you want that very, very thin. Just like that. You don't want too much. There you go. See how thin those are? And just add them. So this way, when someone gets one, it's going to give a good burst in there, but not too much. There it is. All right, so right before serving, we're going to freshen this up, which we'll show you. And now we're going to kick up our fryer and get the frying up some beautiful ribs. So stick around. Don't go anywhere. All right, so we got that beautiful crab salad out of the way. Now it's time to fry up our ribs. Let's show you how to get this done. All right, so our ribs are out of the refrigerator. Now you always want to take your ribs out of the refrigerator right before you fry. You want to fry them cold, because when they're cold, they're not going to suck in a lot of grease. And that's what you want to do. If you leave them at room temperature, you'll notice that your pork chops or whatever it is that you're frying, your chicken, it's going to be a lot more greasier. Secret is, always fry them cold. All right, here's our flour. We got some all-purpose flour, 50-50 mixed with semolina. That's right, semolina. If you use cornmeal is going to be way too crunchy, and you're going to really feel that bite against your teeth, and you don't want to do that. This is a leftover rub that we had here. So we're just going to go right in with that. Black pepper. I'm going to hold it low. And if you hold it high and you go in with the black pepper, it gets airborne and you'll start to sneeze. So always hold it low when you're going in flour. Now when you're seasoning, you always want to go up high so it drops on evenly. But when you're putting in stuff like this, just hold it real low. So I'm going to add a little bit more to this, so I'm going to hold it low. I'm going to mix it in anyway. And then this way you won't sneeze. All right, so let's just get this mixed up with a little paddle. And now that I have it somewhat mixed up, let's park the lid on here. And we're gonna give it the old shake. And just shake it up. Just like that. And shake it up real good. I usually give it a good minute on the shake. This way you know everything is incorporated, especially with the semolina. All right, so just like that, it's done. And look in there. All right, so onto the stove we go, and I'm going to take a couple of these at a time and drop them into the fryer. All right, 375, and this is how I'm going to drop them in, just like this. Just shake them off. I'm going to get about 4 in at a time. And let my oil heat back up. So you don't have to really shake them. Just get them in and get them drudged. So just like that. I'm going to shake it off in my hand, like that, and we're going to drop them. Now I'm not using a basket, but you guys can use a basket. You just happen to get more in the fryer without the basket. Now I got the first one in. I'm going to drop the second one right on top of the first one, just so I don't get a splash. And if you drop them all on top of each other, you'll be a lot safer. Just kind of let it touch and fall over. This way you never have to worry about splashing yourself. All right, I'm going to fry these up and meet you back here to pull them, so stick around. Don't go anywhere. All right, we just want to show you this. Look at this. This is how our ribs are coming out. We're going to fry them a little bit longer, but look at them. They're coming out quite lovely. These guys are going to take about 15 minutes to fry. And that's it. We're going to pull them, meet you back here, so stick around. Don't go anywhere. All right, so we're starting to get these guys out of here. I'm getting the small ones first. And it's just like frying pork chops. And they'll come out just as tender. So you'll see some floating. Just get them out. I like mine done, well done. And these guys are cooked right down to the bone. When you guys fry and you're frying something this size, there's no need for a temperature gauge. If you're frying at 375, anything more than 12 minutes, you know they're cooked. The rest of the way is for color. So you'll never need a thermometer. It's a great way to have you stop relying on temperature gauges. See that? The rest is just color. All right, we're gonna get these out of here, get another batch in, and then we're gonna meet you over and show you the last thing that's gonna go with this gorgeous meal, so stick around. Don't go anywhere. All right, so those gorgeous ribs are out of the deep fryer. We've got one last beautiful thing to show you, and I think you guys are gonna love it. But before we do that, we have to finish up our crab salad. Let's show you how to get this done. All right, so here's that beautiful crab salad. Now the first thing we're gonna do is bring in some mayo, and we said that we do this at the last second. So we're just gonna smoothen out some mayonnaise here. This is Duke's. I like the Duke's with this. It's a little bit on the sweeter side. So we're just gonna get it nice and creamy, smooth. And now here's our salad, so we're just gonna mix it. Now this is a hand thing. You don't wanna use anything to mix this because it's not gonna mix well. So there you go. And now let's get our mayonnaise in. As much or as little as you like. I find with this, less is better. So we're just gonna stop about there. Let's just wipe that off. And let's mix it in. This is a pulling action. Kind of like an up and down motion to get this mixed in. And there you have it. Looks like it's not gonna be a lot, but it sneaks up on you real quick. So just get it mixed up. Almost like spaghetti. And I think I want maybe just a little bit more mayo. I'll put a little bit more on here. The last that's in here, I know my ratios. And mix it in. All right, so in with a bowl we go. And now we're just gonna drop it into this white bowl. Just like that. And that's what we grew up on in the 80s, early 80s. When crab salad was in style. Imitation anyway. We didn't get the good stuff. All right, we're gonna meet you back here and show you something special, so stick around, don't go anywhere. All right, that salad's complete. The fried pork chops, they're in the oven chilling out. We've got one last stop on this memory lane train to show you, and it's something that you guys all love, grilled cheese. Let's get it done. Okay, so the first thing that I do when I make my grilled cheese, I take my bread and I make sure it's on the stale side. This bread has been hanging out in the refrigerator for a little bit. It's about a week old. And this is the best type of bread you want to use because it doesn't carry all the moisture in it. And it's a good browning bread. So I'm going to put this inside a frying pan and make sure they all fit. So here's 1 sandwich, 2 sandwich, 3, and 4. So just make sure that you can move your grilled cheese around. Your grilled cheese sandwiches, just make sure you can get them easily to move inside the frying pan. So there you have it. All right, I'm gonna get these out of here. Cheese, leave it out at least 10 minutes prior before you make your grilled cheese. Stick and a half the butter to 4 grilled cheese sandwiches. And the cheese, you're gonna have to feel it out, make it yours. So make sure the cheese is not sticking together and make sure you can just pull it apart and grab it quickly to put your sandwiches together. So the way I will make a sandwich, I'll take my grilled cheese, I'll put them down. Now I'm gonna pre-make these in advance. I'm gonna make sure the lines stay on the bread, just like that, and do the same thing. Now if you make these too thick, you're gonna have cheese pouring out of the sides of the sandwich. So always make the inner layer thick, this way it oozes down. I'm gonna go about there with it. And that's gonna be my sandwich. So let's see how thick that is. See, it's like that. See how thick it is in the middle? And then it's just gonna pour down to the side. Put your bread on, just like that, and repeat. All right, we're gonna finish this up and meet you onto the stove and show you how to get this done, so stick around. Don't go anywhere. All right, so our butter's almost melted. Now this is the way I do it. I'm gonna go in before my butter melts. And I'm gonna place them around because I still want my butter to melt as I go. And I don't wanna burn my butter. So I'm gonna start getting some heat on these guys already. Now the butter is gonna get a little bit burned in here, and that's what makes a great grilled cheese, is that nice burnt butter in here, but now I can kind of rock my pan. And I'm just gonna bring them up slow and toast them up slow. If you hit them with the high heat fast, that's gonna burn the bottoms, and the inside aren't gonna get a chance to get done. I'm not using a lid, and I'm just gonna turn them over as we go. I'll meet you back here. It's a little bit more than halfway open on the heat. So middle range, a little bit more, and that's it. Stick around, don't go anywhere. All right, so I'm about 3 minutes in. I'm gonna rock my pan a little bit just to get that butter moving around, just like that. I'm gonna give them a little press, each one. And now I know all the heat's coming from the middle. I'm gonna get him flipped over. Hold the top and get him turned over. See that? We're gonna get this guy over here, get him turned over. The key is to use a lot of butter. And now that I got them turned over, I'm dropping another piece in. Don't skimp on the butter because you'll burn it up and you'll be sorry that you burned up your beautiful grilled cheese. So let's just get this guy turned over. That's it. Rock the pan, get the butter in there. Just like that. I'm gonna take it off the heat, get some butter melted around, and just repeat. Just like that. All right, we're gonna get these cooked up, and then we'll meet you over to the table to have a delicious meal. So stick around. Don't go anywhere. All right, here we are, Season 7's chopping block. Fried ribs, grilled cheese, and a gorgeous crab salad. Let's show you what we got. Take a look at these fried ribs. I mean, these guys are looking right. And here's our crab salad. Simple, luxurious, 80s. And how can you go wrong with a grilled cheese sandwich? All right, let's get these ribs off to the side and get into this. So let's bring in a little bowl. We're gonna get some crab salad on here. So this is how you want to serve this, just like that. There you go. We're even going 80s style on the plating as well too. That's what you found in the 80s, that plate there. All right, so let's just get a little greenery onto this plate. I'm just gonna park some greenery on the top of that salad. And there it is. All right, let's get some grilled cheese over here. I'm gonna just grab this guy here from the middle, put it onto the bench. And then we're gonna just give it a little cut here. There we go. Let's bring in a plate, and we're gonna park it on the plate. Just like that. And of course, you've gotta have some of those gorgeous ribs. So I'm gonna get some of these gorgeous ribs right on the plate with it. Told you I wasn't jiving, guys, right? So this was my memories of my summer, my childhood summer, right before I was about to go to the movies and see the new Terminator movie. There it is. All right, we're gonna put a little greenery on this plate as well too. So deck it out a little bit. Get a little greenery up there. Whoop. That one's looking a little limp. Let's get a little fresh greenery right there. And over here. There you have it. Anytime you have fried food, you always want to kind of put something on the side of it just to make it pop, because it is fried. Now, what my mom used to say, no hot sauce at the table, and she used to serve a jalapeno with this. So we're gonna put a jalapeno here for that heat. And you bite into that one, and that'll get you straight for the summer with some nice cold Kool-Aid on the side. And there it is. I'm gonna turn this around so you guys can kind of see what I'm looking at. And that's what I'm looking at right there. All right, let's get into this. First thing I'm gonna try is this crab salad. I've been waiting to try this one. I know that's not 100% real crab meat, but you know, what you grow up on brings you back a lot of memories, and that, to me, is better than any crab salad that you'd want to have, because it just brings back all that nostalgia. Outstanding. I'd eat that every day of the week over real crab salad just because of the memories that are involved with that. All right, let's give those ribs a try. All right, I'm gonna take a bite of this right along with a piece of that jalapeno. Wow, that's an excellent bite. The jalapeno is not that spicy. That one kind of cooled down a little bit. I had a whole bunch of them, and I tried the batch, and the whole batch was kind of cool, so that was just nice to have around, that it wasn't one of these jalapenos that you bite into and set you on fire. That one was nice and mellow, so I had that one on the plate. Last but not least, let's try that grilled cheese. The crunch on that grilled cheese, that makes me feel like I was just in my room yesterday as a little kid playing the Atari in 1984. Outstanding, all of it. The ribs taste like pork chops. I mean, it's basically neck and neck with a pork chop. Probably the best pork chop you'll ever want to eat is that loin rib right there. I'll have those over pork chops any day of the year. All right, we're gonna get organized. I'm gonna meet you guys right back here, so stick around. Don't go anywhere. All right, and there it is. Fried ribs. An amazing trip back down memory lane. We threw down with some gorgeous grilled cheese with lots and lots of butter. And we parked our gorgeous crab salad on the side. I know it's imitation, but that's the real deal to me. Hope you guys try this one. Hope you guys enjoy it. And I hope it brings you back a few memories as well too. Like always, we enjoyed having you guys. We thank you very much for coming. And until the next time, gotta get that master taste there.